Picture this. After a prolonged and arduous battle with the boss, your sigh of relief is met with the realization of the passing of time. Where once the sun positioned itself on the sky, the moon took its place to comfort your tiresome eyes. No matter though, your progression is all that matters. Now you can finally move forward and traverse the endless halls to exit this wretched castle. I wonder what awaits you. A corrupted land that spews toxins and other putrid excrements? A catacomb of the previous boss's ancestors? Or perhaps tranquility. Peering into the distance, we are acquainted with a breathtaking view that gives us a glimpse of what lies ahead in our journey, making sure to give us the bare minimum information, letting us fantasize about the future until we reach those locations ourselves. Very few games pull off this foreshadowing, while most keep it hidden to make us wonder, to give us this feeling of excitement for what's about to come. A certain thrill of the unknown. As someone who got his hands on video games from the moment he gained access to sentience, I was introduced to the simple formula of progression. Among the endless 99 games and 1 cartridges my parents bought from my NES, there were games that rewarded the player with short-term dopamine as I battled either my brother or grandfather in Tank 1990, or perhaps trying to beat each other's high score in Dr. Mario. But when I found some alone time and had no one to play with, I enjoyed the more well-known side-scrollers of that era. Super Mario Bros., Contra, Excitebike, or even Circus Charlie to list a couple. All of those games sharing the theme of completing levels and advancing towards different and more difficult environments, portraying the struggles of the main character who embarked on a big journey, whether it was to save the princess from an overgrown turtle or the entire world from alien domination. Not only did you follow that character's every step, but you witnessed the world the game was building for you, with all of its 8-bit graphical splendor. The games of this generation laid the groundwork for how progression was meant to be portrayed, mostly through numbered worlds and levels. Despite the NES being my introduction to the wonders of gaming, the real catalyst for this passion was the first personal computer my family bought. During this period of time, my uncle would visit us every weekend, bringing us a copy of a game on a floppy disk every time. A storage device with a maximum capacity of 1.5 megabytes, which pales dramatically in comparison to the devices we use on a daily basis nowadays. I would spend countless hours playing through the classics of Prince of Persia, Golden Axe, Doom 1 and 2, and Wolfenstein 3D to name a few. While all of those stayed true to the formula of episodes and levels, a PC port of Mortal Kombat would be the first game I would experience that brought a new dimension to story progression. Instead of worlds or episodes or levels, MK used the premise of a tournament to tell its story, fighting through the ladder of opponents in order to reach the top and challenge the final boss, Shang Tsung, where upon his defeat we would be greeted with an epilogue that related the story of our character after being crowned the champion of Mortal Kombat. To my younger self, it was exciting to watch the seemingly endless ladder of opponents I am yet to fight. Only details about these characters I could gather before the battle were off of their portraits, which got better and better with newer installments in the series. Eventually, due to spending most of my time playing Mortal Kombat 4, that game's character portraits bring me the most amount of nostalgia. Even though it was one of the most criticized entries in the series, it still occupies a special place in my heart.
Perhaps you can convey your feelings to Shinnok himself.
What? Infidel! You are in no position to demand anything. I could kill you with a mere thought.
But we had a deal.
A deal? I am not a god of my word, reptile. All deals are off!
As the technology advanced, floppy disks were replaced with compact disks, having 700 times the capacity their predecessor possessed. Thus, with inevitable upgrades on the horizon, with a new PC, my uncle got us a new batch of video games off of a CD simply called Games. Carmageddon, Commandos Behind Enemy Lines, The Lost Vikings 2, Captain Claw, and Jazz Jackrabbit 2, among many more. The last two games being a perfect description of what made me gravitate towards that style of platformers in my younger years. Both of them had the same premise. A main character starting from point A that has to go through adversity to reach point B. On paper, having the same goal as its ancestors like Super Mario, but in practice they were an upgrade to the simple formula. Captain Claw followed a captured pirate cat as he escaped his dungeon and continued his journey to find the One Piece.
Can we get much higher? So high.
Instead of Goombas and Chompers, the enemies consisted of different breeds of dogs. Every second level culminating in a boss fight, ranging from rogue felines with whips to puppers with mechanical arms. My best memories of this game revolved around the theme of this video, being excited by what lies ahead in my journey. By beating one level, what location will I discover next? By defeating a boss, who will I have to face at the end of the next level? Jazz Jackrabbit 2 was very similar, but replaced the cats with rabbits and the dogs with turtles. The game's wonderfully crafted levels were spread across many episodes, each one telling a chapter of the main character's tale. From castles to forests to laboratories to arcade machines all the way to hell. Just like the previous entry, every second level of this game as well culminated in a boss fight, but with a little more variety this time, adding in remote-controlled robots, aliens, flying medieval ships with an eye on top. While these games didn't invent the element of progression through multiple level designs and boss fights, they preserved and perfected the formula to the point where it became standard in later installments in the genre. Hollow Knight, Ori and the Blind Forest, Shovel Knight, Blasphemous, and so on. As I've grown up and slowly became a teenager, I noticed that game developers were taking a different direction when approaching the identity of their game, replacing the concept of these arcade elements with direct storytelling, shying away from the level-to-level format for a more hands-on approach, where the player would be placed into the main character's shoes instead, immersing them into a whole new world. Grand Theft Auto 3, for example. After progressing through the missions taking place on Portland Island, I would talk to Salvatore Leone for the last time, discovering his deception and driving a boat to the new area, Staunton Island, which was previously closed off due to an event at the beginning of the game. Or two first-person shooter games that had storytelling as its focal point in terms of progression, Doom 3 and Quake 4. Both of them having stellar level design and unmatched atmosphere, but shedding their arcade elements from previous installments in the franchise to focus on immersing the player in their respective worlds instead. But there was an outlier that did possess this arcadey feel during the mid-2000s, a racing game that had a simple premise. Win races, build up reputation in the underground racing circuit, and challenge the members of the Blacklist. Progressing through the ranks of these racers, each opponent being shrouded in mystery until it was time to challenge them. Of course, I'm talking about with Underground and Underground 2 as their prized possession, the Need for Speed franchise needed to one-up themselves when it came to the next installment, which they did with flying colors. Most Wanted revolves around the protagonist joining an illegal racing circuit, winning race after race, which catches the eye of the Blacklist, fellow racing enthusiasts who are not all about upholding the law. Eventually, the protagonist challenges the head honcho of the group, gets sabotaged and loses his prized BMW. Embarking on a revenge tour, we take control of the protagonist in winning small-time races until we're notorious enough to face each member of the Blacklist, even having the possibility to win their car and drive those instead. The game is split into sections, allowing the player to choose between activities before the big race. If you like causing mayhem, you can endlessly torment the police and cause the city millions of dollars worth of damages. If you're an adrenaline junkie, you can race the AI opponents in teeth-clenching circuits. Or if you're a chill guy, you can just explore Rockport City while listening to the amazing soundtrack. Another addition to this game and many other games during this time was unlockables, which further incentivized the player to progress in the game. Whether it was visual body parts, performance upgrades, or the ability to buy different cars, you had to beat certain members of the Blacklist to unlock. During the latter half of the 2000s, my parents surprised us for Christmas, getting us a PlayStation 2 with a couple of games attached. Mortal Kombat Armageddon, Soul Calibur 3, and WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. It wasn't long before I could get my hands on the critically acclaimed PS2 games. Resident Evil 4, Okami, GTA San Andreas, and a masterpiece of Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater.
What a thrill, with darkness and silence through the night.
Then I had the privilege of playing a game that wasn't very popular during the late 2000s, but after experiencing it, I felt sorry for those who didn't get to do the same. I'm talking about
God Hand. God Hand.
God Hand.
God Hand.
God Hand.
God Hand. God Hand.
God Hand.
Clover Studios' God Hand, the same developers who created the legendary Okami and the quirky Beautiful Joe games. The premise of the game is pretty simple. Beat people up. Living in a world infested with demons, Gene, the game's protagonist, is being hunted for possessing the God Hand, an artifact that gives him the ability to whoop some jabroni ass. After dancing with the wrong bunch, he finds himself lonely after his girl is abducted by the 4 Devas, the game's main antagonists. Beating them one by one, the game culminates in Gene fighting the devil and rescuing Olivia, living happily ever after. God Hand excels in every aspect. The story is brilliant and goofy, the characters are memorable, the soundtrack is bomb as hell, and the gameplay is fantastic. Being a beat-em-up game, most of the buttons are different attacks, ranging from punch combos to leg sweeps to launching attacks. Alongside normal attacks, the player can unleash the God Hand, becoming invulnerable to enemies and empowering attacks to deal more damage, as well as being open to the special moves roulette, which does exactly what the name entails, a special move at the cost of 1, 2, or 3 orbs. The best part of the gameplay is the player's ability to customize everything, from outfits to roulette wheel moves, all the way to every attack button, including a customizable combo for the square button. With the ability of choosing 6 moves out of the total 101, there are 1.2 billion combos the player can try out. Just like its ancestors, God Hand possesses the same arcade elements, varying level designs, boss fights at the end of levels. Just looking at the map in a menu fills us with excitement, imagining all the possibilities for the upcoming setting. Unfortunately, this game was Clover Studios' last entry before dissolving, so here we are, just hoping that one day the impossible will become a reality and we get a sequel to this masterpiece. Doing a full 180 and returning to PC games, I saved the best for last. The series that embodies this arcade game feeling to the point of adapting the same difficulty curve most of the arcade games captured during their heyday. Of course, I'm talking about From Software's masterpieces. Elden Ring, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and most of all, Dark Souls. Ever since its inception, the Souls games would stand firm having their own identity when it came to introducing new players to the game. While most games were riddled with tutorials, waypoints, and flashy on-screen prompts, Dark Souls stood apart and let the player discover everything, so that they could piece everything together in their own imagination. Which of course turned a lot of players away, but for those who enjoyed the insurmountable freedom, Dark Souls was going to be something they would never forget. The game revolved around the topic of destiny, the player taking on the role of the chosen undead. All of humanity was cursed by the king, Lord Gwyn, branding them with the dark sign to contain their dark soul, which seeped out of their body upon their death. Thus, every human would go hollow after a while, losing every semblance of consciousness and humanity. Where most undead lose faith in their journey to stop this vicious cycle, the protagonist's goal is unsullied. Thus, he stands out as being the chosen undead. Dark Souls became more of a mystery adventure game, putting emphasis on the player finding out what happened, where they are, and any other question they have through character dialogues, item descriptions, and by just using their intuition. This adds to the feeling of discovery and self-fulfillment when approaching every area and location. You put the pieces together, without being led on by the assistance of a third party. The game features full customization, which includes the character, making them however beautiful or hideous you would like. The gameplay, equipping the character with any weapon, armor, or consumable from the hundreds of items available. Even the experience is customizable, Dark Souls offering the player branching paths, leading to different locations from the moment they reach Firelink Shrine. Do you want to take the normal route and fight some Hollows and Black Knights? On you go towards the Undead Burg. Do you want to find an early grave and fight some spooky skeletons? Go straight to the catacombs. Feeling like a ghostbuster today? Take the elevator down towards the New Londo ruins. Each of these locations having multiple bosses to fight. Coming out triumphantly against some of them yields the player their soul, which can be exchanged for unique equipment or spells. With its amazing level design, atmosphere and soundtrack, you can fully immerse yourself in the apocalyptic setting, sometimes even finding solace in the solitude, sitting alone at the bonfire, looking off into the distance, and just taking it all in. Progression is made through traversing these amazing locations, fighting everything that opposes us in our journey. While most of the games with similar themes keep future locations a secret, awaiting the player to discover them when the time is right, Dark Souls and other FromSoft games tease us in some cases, allowing us to take a peek at what's yet to come. Whether this is through peering into the distance and seeing them in our line of sight, or through what I like to call the Miyazaki shot, effortlessly showcasing a breathtaking view of the location we are about to tread. In Dark Souls, it was the cutscene after defeating the Iron Golem in Sen's Fortress, gaining access to Anor Londo. Or perhaps discovering Ash Lake after finding the hidden path from the Great Hollow. In Dark Souls 2, it was either arriving to Majula, or discovering Hyde's Tower of Flame. In Dark Souls 3, after traversing the catacombs of Karthus and defeating High Lord Wolnir, we get the breathtaking reveal of Irithyll of the Boreal Valley. In Elden Ring, there are many locations that are revealed to us in a very cinematic way, such as Liurnia of the Lakes, Leyendell Royal Capital, even in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, coming out of the cave to gaze upon the gravesite plain, or later on peering into the southern frost fields of the Cerulean coast. In an age where games are becoming more accessible to the broader audience, and in turn they are being produced with earnings in mind as opposed to being a studio's magnum opus, we can proudly look back and find those games that either defined our childhood or just kept us intrigued with every hour played. Even now there are wonderful games being produced by multiple incredibly talented designers. So let's just hope that this feeling of excitement for embarking on new journeys, however grim they may appear, never ends and we can look forward for new entries to fulfill this thrill of the unknown. My name is Phobos, this is Where I Lie, and I hope I succeeded in captivating your attention. Until next time, thanks for watching.